What is up, guys? Taiki here. Welcome to episode 7 of the Crypto Market Wizards podcast. Today I have here with me the cat, CL207. How are you doing today?
Good. Very happy to be here. Yeah.
So, what's like the origin behind the cat? Like, when did this become a thing?
Yeah, it's always been I mean, there is like layers and layers of lore. I think the earliest lore is like my mom went to I think what's the word? Fortune teller, right? Yeah. And then she was like, "Yo, read this." And then the fortune teller was like, "Yo, um, oh, actually, something funny was like first of all he's like this person is gonna be a great writer, and I turned out to be a shit poster. And then he was like, he might be successful, so like, uh, but there's a problem where people are gonna go after him, right? So that's like the feds. Um, but the fortune teller was like, so to protect him from people going after him, you have to let him know to be like uh humble and soft, so like people like don't go after him. And then she's like, oh cool. So she's like, and then he's like, yeah, maybe you can give him like a cuter nickname or something. And then she just called me Cat. So that's the original lore.
Got it. Like, what's it like being a pseudonymous character? I think you mentioned in some post that you travel all the time. People know you as cat, so it's harder to build like real life experience, or it's harder to build like meaningful connections. Like, what are like the pros and cons of being this cat online?
I don't feel like there's many cons. It's mostly just pros. Like that's like you're whatever you want, and then yeah, you can say whatever you want. Like, what are they gonna do, right? Like, they're like, yo, who the fuck? Yeah, I don't know. We can't sue him for flooding our bags. And then it's like, and then yeah, I don't know. Maybe the only con so far is like, I feel like a bunch of smaller accounts get intimidated or like think I'm like a trillionaire, which I'm not even close to, and then like think I'm some like I don't know. They're just like, yo, I don't know. I don't know about meeting this guy. Like I know he's like definitely safe and legit, but like yeah. So yeah, maybe there is a bit of that, but overall, I think people generally are pretty happy to meet up. I think the harder to build like deeper connection part is more so because I travel too much. So like I don't really stay at a place to make like multi-year lifelong friends. Yeah, I don't think I even have friends that I see consistently like throughout like a whole year. Yeah.
I see. Yeah. So for me, I don't think you necessarily need an introduction, but how did you get into crypto trading? Like when and like what do you do now?
I got in 18 and then I thought I can just buy and hold and get rich, but like Bitcoin vary from like 3K to 12K like in 2019, and then I was like still super poor, so I was like, yo, I need some leverage, like just maybe like just some, and then yeah, I just got into trading, and then it became much more of like a kind of like a video game endeavor where it's like I was way more by fascinated by why price moved and like figuring it out than thinking about like, oh, how much am I gonna make on this trade? I kind of just like had no idea until like sometimes like the trade kind of played out and I'm like, oh, interesting. Um, yeah, so that's how I started. And yeah, and then I shared a lot of ideas on Twitter. And then I was very lucky to have like an actual fund pick me up for a few months where I trade a prop for them. Um, but I traded discretionary, as a discretionary trader for them. Uh, yeah, it was really like a bit of lucky just to like start tweeting randomly, and then lucky to have this guy reach out and like, yeah, he was telling his friends, yo, this like autistic kid on the internet that seems pretty good, let's hire him. Uh, and then I just got hired. This guy gave me a login. I logged in and had like 100 Bitcoin in it on BitMax. Um, I did okay. Yeah, and then I left, went solo. Yeah.
When did you go solo?
In 2020. Yeah.
Okay, like was this before the COVID crash or was it after?
Uh, it was about a month after. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I think last time you met or like we met, like you told me about like some crazy like experiences you had like in March of 2020? Like, do you mind sharing to our audience like what happened then and like how you recovered?
Yeah, actually, I didn't lose too much because I was like, yo, if I can trade on this account, like I don't need to like all in my own personal 5K net worth into whatever bullshit, right? So I didn't really trade it. I had like just had some dust on like FTX and Binance back then. But the fund I was at was very into actually I'm not sure like how like if I'm allowed to say because I didn't even sign paperwork at the fund I
But
work
you're a
at,
cat,
right?
right? But you're a
Like
cat.
yeah, but yeah, so maybe I can. Okay, well the fund was like very interested into like moving the price, right? Like in favor of their position, obviously. So we did a lot of bullshit. Like sometimes when Binance went down, we were like, yo, can we shove Coinbase spot? Like it's like market buy like one clip. Can we just like send this shit like 10% or not? So we were like just it's really like like so degenerate. Like shove market, see impact. Shove in different menu, see impact. Like if we're leading the price on like this venue, like which other venue gets arbed up first? Like we actually it was very degenerate, but there was also like a it's not quantitative because like we don't have like computational modeling of like yo if we pump Coinbase versus pumping on Bitcoin on Binance like which one pumps harder like we kind of have a sense of Binance have way deeper liquidity or like we also have shoved on OKX quarterly futures like these were the biggest products by that back then and then OKX was like a great platform to shove price back then because Huobi used to also be big, and these was and Huobi, OKX, and Binance was like very well arbed against each other. And then Coinbase Kraken was way more segregated because I feel like the people that are between Asia and China and US, they're uncertain of the stable price of Tether. So sometimes even if it's like Tether is like 0.99. That's like a massive difference on like if you can ARB Bitcoin or not, right? So while it was very degen and we try to like nuke and like move the market on BitMEX and like all these platforms, we did end up getting a very clear sense of like how this market worked. So the fund did pretty well overall, except in the crash where we actually did short, but I did not long nor short. I was just flat. The fund didn't do too well, but it did okay in Bitcoin terms. But eventually I left and yeah, just did my own thing.
Got it. So would you say that, you joined in 2018, you're trying to, trade up a small account, couldn't do it, use leverage, and then eventually like joined some prop fund, and then learned like how the markets moved, and then eventually you said, you know what, like let's just like let me do my own thing. Is that kind of how like your journey is in crypto?
Yeah, to that point, yeah.
Got it. Like what led you to take that leap? Like what made you say, you know what, like let me do my own thing? Like wasn't like did you think that the opportunity was worth it? Because you don't really have a TradFi background, right? Like you just join the markets, price go up, price go down, try to figure it out on your own. Like
Yeah.
what was like the system? What was like the process like for you to just like go full time?
Dude, there was no process. Like it was just like completely what do you call it? If you come out of school, you have no job, and then you're just trading crypto with like few grand, you're fucked. Like I think I was just more a bit of luck and other people just being bad back then. Um, I don't think it took that much to figure like stuff out, or even just to like beat the market, right? So and I seem like half of the trading going on is like just super gambling. So it wasn't too hard to like shine a bit out of that pool of traders. Yeah, I had no logical like decision of like career big picture like yeah I'm gonna do this. This is amazing for my career. I had no idea. Okay. Yeah.
No, I mean that's like
Yeah.
most people, right? I mean, we just kind of have like a gut feel or a gut instinct, and we say, you know what, like I feel it in my bones. Just fucking go along. Do you have like any memorable
Yeah.
trades or like I don't know, like memorable moments that like led you to, I guess, quote unquote, make it?
Not really. I think it would be pretty surprising to yeah, it's always surprising to many people when I tell them like my biggest single trade P&L is like maybe 200-300, like okay, like not more than that. Like, but I have a lot of those. And I have a lot of like losses in that range, but like less often, and that's about much less like loss in that. Most of my loss are like much smaller. So when I did do trade, it was very much just scalp and like like intradays, intra-weeks, like nothing. Like I've never held a position for over a month, I don't think, except Doge, which I fumbled anyways.
What was that Doge trade?
Oh my God. So me, Avi Feldman, and a few friends, we had this whole thesis in like late 2020. Well, late 2020, as in like right before the Doge pump we gave up, but we were like a significant chunk of like Doge futures market, where like the entire open interest is probably just us, to be honest, because like I know I personally held over 10% of the market on Doge, and I also made sure to like long a like exotic quarterly contract where I do not have enough bid to get out after I buy, right? But I ended up getting out anyways because I was begging like Sam Bankman-Fried to give me a bid OTC to get out of the quarterly contract that had zero bid after a few months of holding that position. But yeah, our thesis was like, yeah, the best shitcoin. It's on Robinhood, you know, if there's like, yeah, it's just gonna get driven up by normies, like who start getting in, right? So it played out well, just not the trade. When we missed out, I don't know, we could have, I think we collectively missed out on like a few hundred mil. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of ridiculous because at the top, like Doge was trading like 200, $300 billion a day, like more than like national volume of entire like Korean won FX or some shit. Like if you had $1 billion of Doge, I still find this fact ridiculous, right? Because like you can sell 1 billion of nothing onto the market, no slippage. Like that's insane. Like you can't, like that's just insane. Yeah.
Yeah, would you say like that type of environment is characteristic of like near market tops? When, I mean, of course, for Bitcoin and Ether, you can trade a billion without like minimal slippage. But for altcoins, like, is that kind of like, how do you think about timing market tops, like identifying like bottom signals and whatnot?
Yeah, they tend to go on for a while, so it could be a bit deceiving. But like, yeah, like if every altcoin have like so much liquidity, like something's wrong, right? Like, because at some point, well, like, yeah, like I don't really like I can't say for every cycle, like the coming cycle, like maybe this shit is just like the norm, like next in the future, but partly because this bottom so far we have had, like we consolidated here for a year, right? And then you look at like what I would consider absolute vaporware to have multi-billion market cap, and then that's apparently the Pico capitulation bottom. Like what the fuck? Like that's our society is insane. Like like it's just a collective collective uh like pursuit to buy a lottery tickets and degenerate trading, and that somehow just holds the market up, right? And I mean it kind of makes sense for the world to go in this direction. Um, so it kind of makes sense. So, and there is way less uh attract like attractiveness to trading Bitcoin than like alts. So the next the top could be like even like probably more ridiculous, right? So yeah.
Yeah, like do you actually see value in cryptocurrencies, or do you just more see it as a market to trade with like all these autist individuals just like gambling and degenerating, like try to get out of, to get to like next level of wealth, I guess.
There's always, yeah, I mean there's some value in like, but I think a lot more value in the prior statement about just trading, yeah, like literally just trading, like it's just a game. Then I mean there is a lot of value I saw last cycle where it's very small, by the way. Where like a lot of artists I knew, and I've commissioned like hundreds, they were very open to being paid in like stable coins or Bitcoin or ETH. Um, so that was very fascinating to me, and like very just much more convenient than like PayPal or wires. Like that was just way more just, yeah. And unironically, like fees on a lot of these are actually cheaper than PayPal, so that's been good. So I mean, there is definitely value in like just an asset being globally traded over like, yo, you gotta like sign up and be like a creditor investor to like invest or like trade or and just fully KYC, which and then yeah, many people don't want to do all of that. And then if you're like not in the US, like your access to like a lot of these financial instruments are super like restricted, right? So there's definitely a lot of value in just having like this open participation. Yeah.
Yeah, like
But a lot of what we're gambling on, like 80%, 90 or like or more, like 95% is just like hot garbage. But it is what it is, I guess. Yeah.
yeah, like, do you think it's important to view crypto as a game? It seems like you were into video games. You mentioned before that you kind of view this market as a game. Do you think that helps you separate the emotion and like the money component to it? Do you think that's like really important to be a successful crypto trader?
Yeah, I would say people that view it as a game, like kind of like just like as not real, like definitely have done well, but also like a lot of these have like lost it all just because like they don't feel like it's real. And I used to be way more like that, but you know, if you go outside and just like even buy anything, like holy crap, this is like a fraction of your slippage. That's just really absurd, right? Like you got to start de-risking at that point. I feel like yeah, mentally I've de-risked since like like end of 2020, early 2021. From that, yeah, but prior to that, like a lot of the trading I've done are on way more risk. Yeah,
Yeah. So, like, how much did you like start out with? Like crypto.
a few grand.
Got it. And in the last, let's say from 2018 to 2021, you've gone to a state where you're comfortable with life. You're traveling. Do you think like that few thousand to make it is still possible in crypto? And if so, if someone like retail is watching this video, like how would you recommend? Like what do they need to do in order to make it in the next cycle? Let's say.
Honestly, I don't know, but something I do realize is like just like how intense the turnover rate is on crypto Twitter in terms of both just people dying out and like alpha, where it's like I see a lot of people posting very valuable stuff that only have like a few thousand followers or like 10,000, like relatively small, right? And then here I am kind of just contributing nothing. Um, but like maybe like 3, 4, or 5 years ago, I had a bit more to say about like Bitcoin and DeFi and like buying synthetics and Aave at pretty cheap and then longing here and shorting there on ETH. Like, but I see a lot of let's just say like it's a very different game in like these kind of returns on like you can definitely like trade on centralized exchange on like leverage. That's like very I would say it's definitely harder than like 2019, 2018, like that period. Um, but it's still definitely doable. Like I would say the main issues like Binance removing liquidation feeds. You don't see the like a clear picture of liquidation, and open interest is like delayed by like a minute or something, right? So it's like every time we pump or nuke like really fast, um, you're basically guessing like if you should sell or not, if you should buy or not. Like which can be deducted, but it's just like it's just less obvious, I guess. So it's definitely still tradable, and uh, off centralized exchanges, there's a lot of shitcoining going on where like I feel like maybe like 20% win, and like majority of people just either run into a rug or just like fumble or like just buy the wrong thing. But that game is also just like very complex, where it's like sometimes one shitcoin really stands out, go from like zero market cap to like 100 mil, and it's always pushed by like a lot of like uh what you call influencers and stuff. I mean it is a game you can play, but yeah maybe yeah I can't feel like I can't think if the odds are better like here compared to trading like on leverage on centralized, but yeah, there's a lot of like this kind of stuff going on where I do see people make like a lot of sums, but yeah, and I do feel like it's honestly, yeah, like for much lower risk, there's a lot of like farming stuff you can do, which luckily there wasn't much in my time because I would have probably, I don't know if I would have done that, but maybe I would have, yeah, so I wouldn't have made as much, but yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk about farming. I do run a DeFi channel, and recently there was this new farm, and you're an investor in Blast, this new L2 backed by Paradigm, and
Backed by Paradigm, yeah.
yes, backed by Paradigm, and right now, this Blast contract, it's not a bridge, it's a contract. It has almost, let me refresh this. It was almost $500 million in TVL, and this is in a few days. It seems like a lot of people are upset by this. I think it's a pretty good like marketing move. I mean, I think the chain itself makes sense as well. Do you mind kind of going over this, incentives like mechanism, like the points, like thesis you have with like loyalty points, marketing? Do you think this is like where crypto goes eventually, where instead of giving out token rewards, you just give out like fake points, and that way, you you attract capital and try to, I guess, like build moats that way. What do you think about
Yeah,
Blast?
I don't think it's worth for people to farm this anymore unless you do have a lot of capital, right? And it's um like points they just work. Like um there's like like every company use it, right? If they have if they have like a high user base or like audience. And it's a great like both marketing, like it's just it's a great Ponzi and marketing thing to have. And I do think, yeah, probably more projects are doing it. I mean, they are like you already see it. I don't, yeah, at half a bill, like I mean, like I think the TVL goes to like more, so it's gonna reach a point where like it's not gonna be worth for most of the people to farm it, like maybe even me, right? Like so, it probably is not the ideal farm. Um, but yeah, and there's probably better farms out there. Which I probably shall not say for my own sake of dilution.
Got it. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, right now, there's a market on Ava, which is like this option slash perp dex, and it's valuing Blast to be 3.6 billion FDV, which is pretty insane, right? Like they just spun up this contract, collected $500 million, and now, I mean, albeit like the liquidity profile is like very thin. There's only like 75K worth of volume. How do you think what do you think about like these valuation models? Like what gives L1s, L2s value? I mean, what gives any token value? Have you ever like thought about that? Like, is there like an answer? Is there like, yeah, like what crypto moves so weird, right? Like how do you value these things? How do you think about valuations?
You just move them based on like how many people even know about it and how many people give a shit and pay attention to it. That's pretty much it. And then it's like something I learned from behavior psych is we always need to have a reason for something, apparently, right? Yeah. So every decision we make, there's either a more like fact concrete reason, or there is a more like social reason. So the fact reason would be like, hey, we are ABC Capital. We took your investor money and we bought Apple shares, and here's our reason. Like they make a reason for why they bought Apple shares, right? And then they're like, oh, the revenue is this. Their gross projection is that. Like it's amazing. Like the the earning to whatever price ratio is great. We're gonna hold this position, and then like that kind of is like a cult, actually. Um, like even, yeah, there is real money. Like at some point, it's like too cheap, but like obviously, like if it's trading at like 50, 100, like it's pretty much like a game, right? So it's like even if it goes underwater, I feel like a lot of these funds are like kind of just become a cult. They're like, oh no, we still believe in this. It's like their Bible, right? It's like, oh no, we believe in it, and then the P is good, trust, and then it's like they just keep holding it. It's like, yo, what the fuck, like, and it's kind of the same. Like, and here's like, and the more social part of reasoning would be like, hey, you have an iPhone, yeah, like the tech is amazing, like we got this feature, that feature, like yeah, iPhones are the best, it's just amazing. And then it's like, if you actually look through what they do with their phones, like they actually never use 90% of the quote unquote tech they just mentioned. And then it's like, okay, are you really buying this for the tech, or you just like say something because that's socially acceptable to own an iPhone, and socially acceptable to say why an iPhone is superior, right? So it's like, that's the two main reasoning we give ourselves for our intentions. And it's very much the same. It's like here where it's like the people make up some whatever metric and be like, yo, this is why this is valued at this, and why it's like gonna go up or down, or like, yo, GCR bought, so it's now fashionable for me to own a position. It's like, oh, Kobe's in too, yeah. So I'm in the trend. This is in the new the Balenciaga
Mhm.
of the coin to hold for this week, right? So it's like it's very similar in that. And especially if you're in like a Discord group and everyone apes a shitcoin, like you kind of know, like you're probably about to ape that thing, right? So it's yeah, it's just like, overall, it's just like how many people know about it and how many people really care about it, in a sense, that give valuation to these tokens. Um, and like attention is really important now, because like you could quote unquote have like amazing tech, like, but if no one talks about it, like no one like cares, like even heard about it, like how are they gonna buy this coin, right? Like they can't. So we've reached a point of where in my opinion, social media is kind of like the fundamentals, or like we're getting more and more to that point. And then it's like, some people may be like, yo, some protocols actually make money, yo. What do you mean? And then it's like, yeah. Well, if no one talks about this on social media, then it never made money, dude. Because people won't hear about it, then they're not gonna buy it. But if everyone shows like, oh, this protocol makes money, even if it's not a lot, the token's probably gonna go up, right? So yeah, it's very much just getting to a point of just hyper influen influencer, like social media-ish market. Yeah, I would say.
Yeah.
And I think like GME was actually just like the start of like all of this, um, for TradFi. Like I think like even like common stocks, like in yeah, definitely maybe not like the major like stocks, but like the mid caps and some small caps are definitely going to be moved um by like a lot of retail in the future too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like if a tree falls in the middle of the forest and no one's there to hear it, like did it really make a noise? Right? If a protocol has
Yeah.
good fundamentals but no one knows about it, no one's shilling it, like is it actually good? Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess it's kind of like trading attention, like where attention flows. And I got this audience question, ask him about this flows-based approach to markets, and Jez tweeted about this as well. Um, like how would you characterize your trading style? Like, do you think that, hey, like if I expect attention to flow to this coin, it makes sense to front run those flows, because more people will talk about it. You're trading attention. Is that kind of how you would characterize your trading approach? Um,
Honestly, no. I'm pretty horrible at that actually, which is why I don't dabble so much in the altcoin markets. Um, yeah, I actually mostly just do like big caps. And the flows they talk about, or I've mentioned, is actually more just like, like if Coinbase is buying on spot and perps are longing on perps, like dude, it's just gonna go up, right? Like, so that's the kind of flows I trade. And I'm a very aggressive trader who does not care about entry, and like with no distinct stop loss, but like at some, I mean like some kind of like momentum weighted stop loss, or like time weighted stop loss, more so than like a price one. Um, like if spot and perps are both like buying like the last hour, like I'm just gonna buy, like, yeah, I'm buying the top. Why not? Like a sell like the next top, right? Like so like I'm very aggressive and stuff like that. And like if they stop buying, then sure, I'm very I'm very likely looking to like just close out, no matter where the price is, if it's higher or same or lower, right? So that's I guess just like trading momentum, honestly. But you also do factor in some stuff like, hey, everyone's been buying and longing for like 3 weeks. If momentum breaks here, it's gonna be huge. So then I might jam in on like a reverse, like no one's bought in like 6 hours, and their open interest and leverages and funding rates are jacked. I'm gonna jam on the first like sell momentum, right? So it like there's a lot of game to like that in terms of flows, and then you're kind of just praying the people who've been buying like take some profits or like panic sell or whatever, right? So that's a lot of the flows I trade, and I think Jez is a much better narrative trader than me, and most people honestly. Like I'm the type to like think about, oh, Doge could be the next narrative, and then just like not even have any exposure. Yeah, so yeah, I'm probably not a great like altcoin trader, except for DeFi, I guess. That was just very obvious. Maybe because the groups I hang out with are more like on the funds sides and like retail side. Maybe it's more obvious if like you talk to like 100 like non-institutional traders every day. Like, I mean, that's a lot of alpha, right? They might start talking about X coin, and all of them are like, yeah, I don't have exposure. It keeps pumping, fuck. And then you're like, fuck it, I'm just gonna long it. Like, or like, I don't know what they do, honestly. But when I was like in, like people are funds are talking about DeFi, they're like, yo, we can't deploy because there's no liquidity. I'm like, that's so bullish. I'm all in. Like, yeah. So that's more like the stuff I hear about, so I may know a bit more of. I do remember the synthetics Aave trade. I was buying synthetics at like sub $1, and then like every 5,000 USDC buy I made on chain, it was moving the price 2%, and then I was like, wait, that I can't even pack a 50K back then. I'm gonna move the price up 20%. Like that's ridiculous, right? So you're really trying to like not like slap the price too hard. Yeah, so that was like a very different trading, and I didn't even put too much into like these trades because like I just had no idea if it really does play out or not. Although I kind of feel like it almost like was definitely what like gonna play out. Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the DeFi trade. I'm assuming in 2020 was like obvious, right? Like what made it obvious aside from the fact that maybe at the time your size wasn't size and you were front running, like the institutional bid. Like like what did you see in DeFi at the time that made you think that like, wow, like this is so obvious, like I have to, buy SNX, Aave, etc.
Oh, it was like pretty much the only thing that was new and shiny, and like the only thing people talked about, and it's like it's just ridiculous, right? Like, hey, there's a new smart contract. You put money in, you get some yield here, and then you get the token. Cool. Now you get the token, you dump it, your yield is now this amount, which is like let's say like 300%. That's bonkers. People thought it was a scam, and like they all just kept talking about it, and it was just a very strong momentum and attention, right? And then it's like, oh, now there's like some funds like deploying some like capital. Why not? Like let's deposit. Like we have a big fund. Let's slam a mill into like this farm, get some risk-free return, or like unless you get rugged, which I assume some of these funds had like a dude who actually can read some code and be like, hey, this seems pretty safe or not, right? So a lot of funds started farming DeFi like later on, um, and that was like like one of the main things a lot of funds did in 2021. But yeah, in 2020 they were just getting started, and yeah, it was like pretty much the only new thing where you can like leverage on chain, like borrow money on chain, and then just like do this and that, like some funny mechanisms where people have never been able to do before, um, or they could, but there was just like no size at all. I actually remember I deposited 1 ETH into Dharma in 2019, and then I was getting 4% yield, and I was like, yo, this is like so cool. Like I can see like this ETH going into the pool, and then like actually back then it was like individual pools. So if you want to borrow ETH, you have to like either find someone who's like willing to lend out the same amount or something. But yeah, it was badly designed, I think. But I can see the exact address I borrowed my ETH, I know it's like, yo, that's fascinating. Like, I know he has to pay back because like he's gonna get liquidated for a way more amount of USDC if he does not pay back, right? So, and that USDC goes back to paying me, buying like 1 ETH and sending it back to me, right? So, um, I knew it was safe, unless like we really just like abruptly like sent like 100% in like 1 minute with no like liquidity to cover, which was like not really possible, but like yeah, like there was something really insane had to happen for it to break.
It sounds like, in 2019 you were experimenting with things with DeFi. You kind of knew how it worked, and then in 2020, like more like devs start to build. You start to see like actual functioning apps, via Comp, Aave, etc. Do you think, like for the next? I mean, like talking about like the present. Do you think something has to be new and shiny for it to pump? For example, like DeFi seems like a more mature market now. Like, do you think there are investment opportunities in DeFi, or do you like if you were starting a new account and you're trying to like run it up? What sectors do you think has the most amount of opportunity?
Oh, there's so many sectors now, and honestly, I don't really know like half of them, to be honest, because like if you tell me about games and AI and like I just have no idea. Like I feel like games, they make some revenue from like, I don't know, selling skins or some shit, and then it's like, okay, are people buying? And then like I guess you can project something, but AI is just like such a new world to me. Like I don't know anything about AI, so I'm just not gonna talk about it. But some people may actually know something about it, and then they can be like, okay, cool. This like I don't know, right? Like they can make some stuff up about, or they may see something like people don't, and then if you believe in that like AI narrative to happen, then sure. And then now we have like RWAs, which I also don't know about because it's like I do like real world. Are you serious? Like,
You're a cat.
like I thought we were trading. I thought we were trading like magical internet money. Like, what is this real world stuff? Like, that's crazy. Um, so yeah, I mean, but like I am kind of bullish on it because just like the overall fact that you can just earn yield. Like yield is like everything yield related to yield and just giving out free money is just bullish, right? Because it's like it's just a meme people have always accepted and like about like just earning over time. So
Yeah.
anything with yield is just good in my opinion. It's a good thesis. So you like someone could see something there and be like, okay, this is like clearly like undervalued, like this shitcoin or that shitcoin. Like I don't want to name or like talk too much about like specific projects. Like honestly I don't even know like how safe they are, right? But if you know, then you know, right? So it's like
Yeah, I think DJ Spartan tweeted this. It's like the passive income meme is much more attractive than like hodl wag me, like that Caval. And like that's one of
yeah.
the reasons he like staked Ether, real world assets also. It's like the yield scales, right? Like most DeFi farms, the more TVL goes in, the yield dilutes. Like for example, Blast. But if it's like treasuries or other types of debt, it's like, well, yeah, like billions can enter and the yield's still the same. Do you think like RWAs can be like a sector that people are underestimating? Like, do you think crypto natives inherently don't like RWAs because it's like, oh, real world, like I love my magic internet money. Do you think it's like a sector that people think that they're overlooking?
I don't think they're overlooking because like we already have a lot of people talking about it, and then it's like, well, like I honestly do not know like what's the exact mechanism people are bringing, like, oh, whatever yield from whatever government is like to on chain, like there is a few forms where like, people are also just buying like, oh, like, yeah, hey, our protocol owns like 1,000 houses here, we're renting them out, and this is your passive income, and it's like, yo, what? Like I like we I don't have no clue how legal that is, or like just how ruggable that is, or like how safe it is. But if you know it's safe, like, and you think it's undervalued, I think then they can that can be a good play. Also, I feel like a part of the meme is like not really about us, but like a lot of new buyers are gonna be kind of like a mix of just like our generation and then the older generation, which probably prefer something that sounds like something they already know, which is like RWAs would be something they kind of know, right? And then I feel like that's also why Ripple always got a persistent bid. It's just like, hey, we partner with banks. It's a complete like scam, but like that sounds so legit, right? So it's like it's a great Ponzi. Like they just keep saying, yeah, we're this bank, yeah, international wire, bro. Like and it's like they just get a perma bid. And it's like that's just crazy. Um, yeah.
Yeah, no, like I used to play poker and I was in these poker discords and there was like this one guy who was so adamant that like XRP was gonna hit $1,000 and nothing could shake his confidence on that. And they're like people that, yeah, I have no idea. But if I can,
How many years has it been? Does he still think it's going to a
yeah,
thousand?
no, like for sure. Like he's very,
What the fuck?
yeah, I mean, I guess it's part
Okay.
of like crypto YouTube and whatnot, right? Like you mentioned earlier, like the crypto markets are more and more influenced, I guess, by influencers because people's source of truth are like whatever people see on the internet. Like, do you think that's healthy for the markets, or do you think it's just natural evolution of this, this eternally online society that it seems like the younger generation is becoming a part of?
Yeah, I think it is, and I think at some point it is gonna be really, really bad. Get to a point where it's just so bad that we try to find another system that helps it get better again. Which is why I was so just into like some kind of rep system, like so we can like even AI is getting really good, right? So it's like, yo, if we can't even distinguish like a celebrity between like if are they even real, like we can't even tell, right? Because it's like especially in this industry, like it's completely acceptable at this point that you're just like some character. So if there's some like weird cartoon character animal that's like screaming out tickers and they just keep pumping, like if they're an AI, like they're gonna be like the overlord of like a corner of Twitter where like they can just keep influencing the market, right? And then it's like, or just like way more like of these like bot accounts or like phishing like scam and like just like scam people, right? Just tweet links, DM people random like promotion stuff. Yeah, I can see it getting pretty bad, and it's really hard to for like one entity to filter all of these out because like if there is a rule like on the internet, I feel like it's or just like overall, like I feel like there is like a way around it. So it's just like, hey, we did this implementation to like get the bots out, and then like you have like a million team of like people who just want to like code some BS bot to like scam some money. Like it's like no risk but full return, right? So it's like it's such a great thing to do. If you just don't care about like ethics and just want to make money, right? So you got all these smart people that's just gonna find what the rules are and just bend around it and just keep buying social media accounts and like going for it. I think it will get pretty bad. And then like a rep system where like if everyone if every like actual living being participate in it, then it becomes much more harder for like a bot to really infiltrate. Although that's like obviously at the cost of like the entire society putting time into this, and yeah. Although in real life the entire society do put time into this, which is why I thought it could kind of work. Because like if we meet and like a group of friends meet, they might talk about, hey, that guy, I don't trust him because he did this and that, and like words spread, right? But it doesn't spread as easily here, I feel like, or just people just forget because like these posts get buried in a week or a month, and then or people just restart an identity. It's really easy to like restart an identity, but it's hard for an identity to really like stay and like get really big. So yeah.
So, I mean, with like the rep system, I think you wrote a blog post around Friend.Tech. Like, I think recently, like the keys have come down across the board. Are you still bullish Friend.Tech, or like where do you think it goes from here?
Yeah, I always thought Friend.Tech was a mix of just like a mix of both rep and something else. A bit of like how active you are, or like how much ETH are you spending, kind of, and then like and then there's like a bit of Ponzi where there's 3-3 going on, and then there's a bit of like actual utility where it's like, okay, I can buy this. Like maybe there's like I would say maybe there's actually at least 5 good traders on the platform where there's genuinely like a justifiable lifetime price to pay for. But personally, I don't really need that because like it's really hard for me to trade off other people's opinions. Kind of like if you log into someone else's trading account and you see like 5 positions, you don't really know why they're open, where they think it's gonna go. Like you have no clue how to manage these from that point on, right? So it's kind of the same where it's like, okay, this guy said this goes up. Okay, by how much? I don't know. Like, or like if they say by how much, like, I don't know, man. Like it's just not your trade, so it's like really hard for you to have a conviction in it. And then like it might draw down a bit, and you might panic, but like if that guy have way more conviction than you, he might hold, and he might be right, right? So it's like a lot of this is like really hard to, for me at least. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really do that, but yeah, there is some value there, and then a bit of like influence and that. But overall, I still really like the platform, to be honest. I've met like a lot of people there, and part of it was actually just me buying a bunch of accounts that are of the Asian community, and I bought some like Middle Eastern people, and then they're like, hey, yo, if you want to get into like our like my homies like group chat, like here's a link. And then I joined these chats, right? And it's like really cool, like just to see what they're talking about. And it's like I thought that was like probably like obviously it's not worth like how much I spent. Like I'm not gonna say, but yeah, but that was still at least something came out of it. It wasn't just like I bought like a scam and then it went to zero. Um, and I'm still quite happy with how it played out so far.
Yeah.
Although, uh, yeah, like it could be better, but yeah, not complaining. I hope the points are worth something, but we still don't know at this point. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you mentioned earlier, like, it's if someone talks about their trade or you see someone's trade, it's really hard to build conviction because you don't know why they put on a trade, and you don't know their time horizon. And it seems like, crypto Twitter and CT, it seems like people just throw out tickers and say it's going to go up and whatnot. Like, as a valuable member of the CT community, how would you recommend an average person like utilize crypto Twitter?
Yeah, that's another problem. It takes a lot of time to get good at this, as in to even know what you're reading is like how legit this guy is. Like, I feel like as you spend time on this website, you kind of like on subconsciously build like like kind of like how legit they are a score. And then they are like okay, this guy is not very good, but this guy's pretty good. So I think it's pretty innate for like most people probably kind of have a sense of how to use it, but yeah, I would just say yeah, just yeah, I guess just find people and see if they're like I mean a lot of their tweets can be back tested, and then it's like if they like a lot of accounts do delete tweets, but I feel like it could be pretty obvious as you follow them too. Yeah, and I would definitely always make my like your own decision, just because like that's how you actually really get good at something, not like from listening to others.
Yeah. So first of all, like, I really appreciate you taking the time, but I'll try to get into the rapid fire question section. So
Yep.
you mentioned earlier, and this was surprising to me. Uh, you your biggest, I guess, win was like 200 to 300K, and you typically don't try to hold trades for a couple days to a couple weeks. Like, why is that? Like, haven't there been high conviction trades that you don't mind holding for months at a time, or is that like more your trading style, your personality? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, where it's like I tend to find it hard. I mean, like everyone's different, um, but it's hard for me to have conviction on something that's just like on like a higher time frame, just because like the uncertainty just gets bigger and bigger, right? As more time there is for you to guess what's gonna happen. Yeah, so even when Bitcoin was breaking out of like 12 to 16 to 20K, like I was pretty sure all of that was gonna happen, but like I could only hold a position to like 16, for example, right? Because like I knew like a retrace would come, and then it's much harder for me to mentally read long like 15K. It's like, bro, I've never longed my whole life. I like my 3 years of trading so far has been Bitcoin is like 5K, 8K, you know, like 15's crazy. So I think it takes some skill to adjust to that, but and like I should have thought about like, yo, this is time where you do not think about what the fuck the price is when you're longing. Like you sold 16, it's time to rebuy 15 if you think it's going to 20, right? And like, but I didn't rebuy the size I want, but also just like if you're on like some form of leverage, which I was, then it's really hard to hold a position from 12 to 16 and then just keep holding, even though you know like we're gonna like wick to like 14 or 15 just from like some profit taking, and then it's like you gotta hold that for like a week, 2 week, like that's crazy. Like it's really hard to sleep. It's really hard to do a lot of things where like, and then you just have like a massive mental block on your head where it's like I have a ridiculously sized position on this magic internet money, which I think is going to 20K, but I know for this week it might scam me. So like it's just like you're gonna suffer for that like 10 days to like I'm very much of like a life maximalist where it's like, or happy maximalist where it's like, hey, you know, just yeah, I do not want to win more. Just let get me out of the stress. So I'm more of that kind of, yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. Like what do you think are like common traits of successful traders? I mean, obviously you have a bunch of friends who are amazing traders. You've seen people blow up, come and go. Yeah, do you want to talk about like what makes someone successful when it comes to investing or trading your crypto?
Obviously, good risk management. And most people I know do really well, are pretty humble. Um, and then the not so humble ones tend to go bigger, but I've seen them draw down also much more. Yeah, just like good ego, good being humble, good at risk, being like having the ability to know you're wrong, having like the ability to think you're not like you can be wrong and you're not like invincible or like just like know everything. Yeah, I think that's really good.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned risk management, but it seems like you like to turn up the leverage up, right? And sometimes you can't get good sleep and whatnot. What are your risk management, I guess, rules, or like what are some rules you live by when it comes to trading on leverage?
Uh, well, usually I always babysit my positions. Like I might play a game of League or two, but like you know I can still tab out and be like, okay, yeah. It's not necking to zero right now, or like going to infinity where I'm short, you know.
Yeah,
But overall, mine's just very momentum based, like or kind of just like monetary based. If I'm down like 6 figs, I'm definitely looking to cut. Even if I think it's gonna bounce in favor of my position, just because I tend to have this system where if I'm wrong by that much margin, then I do not deserve to be break even to begin with, even if I think it's gonna like retrace to my entry immediately or something. Um, so I guess this part of trading is where I see it as a game and not like real money. Yeah.
got it.
Uh, Yeah, some of the trading stuff I do is not definitely not very I guess like just perfect EV or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you think that the majority of your trades are more gut feel driven, just because you're just always staring at the charts, you kind of know how these markets move? Yeah, like is how important is gut feel to you?
That's pretty a good amount, and then there's always kind of like a feel of like where like a price level ish. I mean, it's pretty obvious where like people get liquidated and stuff, but yeah, there's also a gut feel of like how likely how bad that is like that move is gonna get if we go to this level or that level, right? Because like you kind of have to like because like I feel like the data is not as transparent. You kind of have to like take some leaps of assumptions where I think like if we like dip 5% here, we utterly fuck because you know that destroys everyone on X20 leverage, which is like pretty common honestly for this market to have. And then it's like if you also assume a lot of positions are open at like high leverage and like around the same price, we've been consolidating, and then if we move like against all these positions, they're gonna have to close, and then that's gonna cause like probably way more moves in percentage wise. And then yeah, so those kind of gut feels are pretty. It's both a gut feel and like somewhat quantitative, I guess, in a sense. But yeah.
Yeah. So you mentioned you're like a momentum trader, and like you might be aiming the top, but you're going to long. Do you have any examples of like recent trades that you've taken, whether it be Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, things like that, where you've used that system, and how did that turn out for you?
Yeah, I mean, like earlier today, Bitcoin was at like what 37.7, and I just long, and that's like the highest it's been in like I don't know, a week or so, and then I just sold at 38 flat. So that, I mean, that's just like pure momentum, and then yeah, didn't make a ton on it, maybe like 10K, but yeah, I don't trade a lot anymore, but like today I'm home, so, and I kind of saw like okay, the the momentum's just crazy. It's definitely gonna like test 38 somehow. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
Seems like you go off
I mean,
bias.
this is
It's
like
like, this is
such a
crazy. I'm going along.
it's yeah. I mean, this is just like such intraday BS stuff going on. Like honestly, not even worth talking about. But yeah.
Got it. So a few more questions, then I'll let you go. What are some biggest misconceptions about the crypto markets that you see a lot?
Oh, I love the they are gonna dump it, or like they're gonna protect the price. It's like who they, bro? Like they like they do not exist. Like there is no like God in this market that's like, yeah, they're protecting it, or like or they're gonna like send it, or like I feel like that's like some misconception people have. There is just like a lot of fucking rich kids and a lot of fucking rich people in general, like that's in this, right? And they all love to gamble, and they're all gambling alongside you, right? So it's like, and you might not know why they're buying and selling. So it's like when price don't react to some news, like, hey, why didn't we dump? Like, this is such bad news. Like the person buying might not even know what's going on. They just wanted to buy and fuck off, right? Like, like some things cannot just be can just not be explained, and like you don't have to think it's like some weird like like they that's like influencing the market. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's normal for the humans. Maybe you don't understand because you're a cat, but I think every human wants to rationalize why something has happened. But sometimes the markets move and you just have to react, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So final question I have for you. I have a lot of viewers. They're listening to this podcast and they want to make it. Like, how do you think, like an average retail trader can make it next cycle? Do you have any life lessons, life alpha that you want to share?
Oh my God, this is always the hardest question, because it's like, what do you say to help like all these people get rich? Fuck, I do not know, bro. Like, I'm trying to like it's pretty hard for me to get richer myself. Like honestly, I do feel like big accounts are overrated, small accounts are underrated on average, and then I think there's a lot of alpha in these like on-chain traders and a bunch of the smaller centralized exchange traders where not many people are following as much just because like they don't ship post as often. And then yeah, I think a lot of big accounts are pretty like just overrated in general. They do have a lot of say in like just momentum of shitcoins, because like you I mean, if like everyone over 100K follower tweeted a ticker, like bro, that shit's gonna send, right? But like a smaller account may be talking about stuff that's less just like less aggressive, but actually like kind of valuable. Or it could be talking about something that big accounts catch on later. Um, yeah.
Yeah. So would you say that maybe this obscure coin just like pumped a lot for whatever reason? Maybe is it like worth maybe going on Twitter, looking up the ticker, identify some accounts that talked about it before, and then try to network with them, talk to them? Is that like, do you think, like, how important is like networking, do you think?
Oh yeah, networking is amazing. I mean, like you can like a lot of these group chats, they're not exclusive at all. They're just like, yo, if you're just like a nice guy out there and like you're cool, like people are just gonna add you, right? Like to a bunch of random like chats. They may be good. They may just be playing games, but like eventually you make friends with them, and like some of the bets they take do make money. So, and it's like, or you just all get rucked together. I don't know, right? Like, but like I think a lot of the small accounts out there, especially like maybe been around for a while, like if they survived like all the FTX and like all the rugs and like implosions, Luna never holding a single UST, like they're pretty smart, right? Like, so I feel like, or not, if they're not smart, at least they're good at risk. So like the chances of you like if you can get in touch with like a group of these friends or like smaller people on Twitter, I think that's pretty fucking good. And it's like you don't have to be like following the big accounts. Like I like even for me, like I don't feel like I tweet much saying stuff useful for you guys, or let's just say for anyone, right? Like maybe apart from like, hey, I think Bitcoin ETH does that, and then it's like someone with size may have a more opinion, like some opinion or actionable thing to do. But like I don't feel like a lot of stuff I say are very super valuable. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, the last thing I wanted to talk about, this is just pure shit posting, but I asked on Twitter if people have any questions, and an overwhelming majority of them, let me try to pull this up actually, uh, they're asking about Unisocks. So you have this meme where you're just like jerking off to Unisocks, right? What's the origin behind that? And how many shots can a Unisock hold?
um. So I remember just like one day I came across this shitcoin worth $3,000, 4,000, four or $5,000. And it's just like this sock from Uniswap, and I was like, okay, this is just the most ridiculous thing I've ever fucking seen my whole life, right? Like, dude, ETH was at like 1K back then, or like no, ETH was at 200, and this shit was at 5K because like this was like 2020, right? And it pumped because every sock holder was gonna get like the Uni airdrop, so it pumped to 10K. Everyone bought it, and then like it just stayed at like 3-4K for a long time. And I was just like, I bought like 10, gave 5 out for free, and I was like, yo, this is just absurd. I feel like, and just how absurd the fact that it was at 5K kind of just made it keep going up, and now it's just holding at 40. I mean, and that itself is just fucking ridiculous, right? Like, why the fuck do people hold this? I don't fucking know, which is why I'm holding it. I mean, it's just for fun. Like, I don't know if it goes like much higher. I don't think many people hold it like to like dump. So I don't think it goes too much lower. Like, but again, I don't know who the fuck would buy this. So it's just probably gonna like, maintain at some value all the time just because it's like ridiculous. And like
You're avoiding the original
you tend
question,
to
man. Like how much cum can a Unisock hold if a Unisock can't hold cum? That's the original question.
okay. So some questions are better left unasked for the sake of our industry.
Okay, for the sake of our industry, we'll keep that a secret. All right. I think that I think we'll wrap it up there. We'll let the audience kind of simmer on that question, and we'll leave it to their imagination. Thank you, CL. Do you have any final words for our audience today?
Yeah, no, not really.
All right. All right. Thanks, Kat. Talk to you later, man.
Okay, bye
Bye bye.
bye.